Get out and vote. Okay, back to what I wanted to talk about. Friday morning, I got an email from this guy, and I guess he's seen, some of my videos when I'm at work, like I am now, and he saw me in my uniform. And at the beginning of his email, he was, pretty cool, you know, talking about he liked the videos, that I kept it real, stuff like that. But then about halfway through his email, he was talking about, how much he dislikes or how much he hates, guys like me. You know, security guys are all just rent-a-cops and, cop wannabes and things like that. And yeah, it bothered me. I'd be lying if I said it didn't bother me. But I'm not going to do the thing that, I'm not going to be like Robert Griffin III. And for those of you that don't know who Robert Griffin III is and what I'm talking about, you can Google it and you'll be able to find out what I'm talking about. This little Twitter beef with this guy that, he had recently. From what I can understand, the guy criticized him, and Robert Griffin III decided that he was going to go back and forth with this guy over and over and over again on Twitter. Hey, even if I was a celebrity, which I'm not going to debate you on social media. Your opinion don't matter that much to me. I'm sorry to tell you. If you don't like me, I don't give a damn. I'm just being real. I'm not going to debate you. You don't like me, you don't like my videos. Okay, you're entitled to your opinions. In my estimation, opinions are just like farts. Everybody's got them. So if you don't like me, I don't care. But I'm not going to debate you on social media or anywhere else. I say those kind of things for my friends. If I'm going to debate somebody, especially over something stupid, it's going to be a friend. Like debating as to who would win a fight. Bison from Street Fighter or Gemma from Ninja Scroll. If those two guys went at it, who would win? I don't know. Gemma's a pretty tough dude, and he's immortal. I mean, he did get his head chopped off by Juby, but Bison's a pretty tough ass too. I don't know who would win. But those are the kind of things I would debate, and that would only be people that are close to me. Back to what I was talking about. Anyway, first of all, I understand how some people feel about private security. In the same way I understand how some people feel about the police. You got to understand, 95% of us who are in private security, just like in that 95% of us that are in, 95% of the people that are police officers, 95% that are soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, we do this because it's a job. There it is, right there. This is a job for me. When I came home, all I wanted to do, I was a young guy, all I wanted to do was find a job. And back in the day, this guy who was a friend of our family's, I'm trying to remember his name, but I can't for the life of me, came over to our house. And he was in his uniform, and he was a field supervisor for the security company. And he was talking to my mom, and he was telling her about, a job for me. That it would be, that if I got into security, it would be a good job. I could make a lot of money if I was willing to work a lot of overtime. I heard money. I needed a job. I jumped at it. But as far as being a rent-a-cop, let's take that one first. First of all, you don't have to work in security to be a rent-a-cop. If a company wants to work with a police officer and you want an off-duty police officer to guard your site, to guard your restaurant, your business, whatever, you can do that. You can hire an off-duty cop. In fact, I've been in security for more than 20 years. And I have had a lot of off-duty police officers working beside me, guys who have worked under me as a field supervisor. As a site supervisor, I've had off-duty police officers work underneath me. That is a rent-a-cop. That is the definition of a rent-a-cop. It's an off-duty police officer who decides to supplement his or her income by working security. And if you are a police officer, you know for a fact that working off duty as a security guard is a damn good way to make a lot of money real fast. You can make 20, 25, even $30 an hour doing this. Where the guy who above you, which in the case was me at one point, I'm making, 11, $12 an hour, which wasn't fair, but you being an off-duty police officer, you got to say what you would work for and what you wouldn't work for. And if the company wanted to hire you, they did. And that happens. That happens a lot. And at that point, a company hires, they specifically want an off-duty police officer. They don't want a regular security officer. They want a police. That is a rent-a-cop. That is a police officer who decides to work part-time to supplement his or her income working security. That's a rent-a-cop. I'm not a cop. So no matter where I go, I'm not a cop. I'm still a regular security officer, or back in the day I was a supervisor, a site supervisor for a little while, a field supervisor for a couple of years. Not a cop. Second of all, as far as be a cop wannabe, I never wanted to be a police officer when I was a kid. Not once. I mean, of all the things that I wanted to be, a fucking police officer was not on that list. And this is not to say anything negative about the police. It's just that, because first of all, I respect the men and women who put on the uniform. 95% of the men and women who wear that uniform are out there doing their very best to serve and protect us. They put that uniform originally for that purpose. They continue to do that. I have nothing but respect for that. As far as I'm concerned, growing up, I never met a cop who inspired me enough to want to be like him or to be like her. I met a lot of police officers when I was growing up because they were in our, they were walking around our schools, because that was during the time when you had a lot of drive-by shootings and things like that. They were in our neighborhoods. They would harass the hell out of us when we were walking home from school. We'd done nothing wrong. They would still want to check our bags, look in our coats, just generally fuck with us. And maybe that, there's no maybe, but that did taint my opinion and my view of what police officers were like. But I never wanted to be one. Growing up, I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted playing baseball as a kid. I wanted to play professional baseball. Tearing my knee up, putting into that, but for a long time I dreamed of nothing else except playing professional baseball. Between the ages of maybe 11 and 15, I'm going to say 11 and 15, all I ever wanted to do was be a Catholic priest. I thought about that seriously. I really and truly thought about that. Talked it over with my mom and everything. And then I got my first taste of pussy. And that kind of went down the drain after that, I found out that priests have to be celibate. And that was just not going to happen. I mean, ever since I got that first piece of pussy, that has driven the rest of my entire life. Because ever since then, all I've been trying to do is find out how I can get more of it and more often. And being a priest was just not going to work out. So, but there's been other things that I wanted to be. I wanted to draw comic books. I wanted to draw and write comic books for a living. I still do. I just haven't gotten to the point where I can give this up and go and draw and write comic books for a living and make a living doing that. But when that does happen, God willing, bye-bye security. But there's a lot of things I wanted to be. I thought about going to college, joining the Air Force and trying to become an astronaut for a while. I really thought that I might, give that a shot. Then I wanted to be an aerospace engineer because I started drawing, and designing rockets and spaceships to go to Mars and whatnot. Just turns out I'm really good with a pen and paper, with a pencil in my hand. I can, But there's other things that I wanted to be that were realistic. For a while, I wanted to drive a Greyhound bus because we went on a trip to spend the summer with my grandmother. Every summer, my mom would ship us off to Mississippi to spend summer with our grandmother. And this bus driver was just the coolest cat I'd ever met in my life. And I wanted to be like him. And from that, you know, I transitioned. I wanted to be a truck driver because I love driving, which is probably the reason why I decided to be a field supervisor, because that's pretty much all you do is just drive around when you're not sitting post for everybody else. But being a police officer was never on that list. I never, ever thought about being a police officer. And like I say, it was how the police treated me when I was growing up, or treated the people I saw when I was growing up. It was more of this really antagonistic relationship between Chicago police and our community. You know, it was never like, you know, hey, let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya or some shit. It was always, come here, nigga, get over here when I call you over here. You know, you don't walk away from me, shit like that. And I think that was that 5% that I'm talking about that ruins it for everybody else. Because if you look at security, you look at the police, and even if you look at the military, you get that 95% of the people who join do it because they want to serve something that's bigger and better than themselves. But then you get that 5% that wants to do those kind of jobs because they want to get in there and put their foot up somebody's ass. That's the reason why they join. And you can see a correlation between the police, the military, and private security. People join, 5% of the people that join this line of work and those two other lines of work do it because they really and truly just want to put their foot up somebody's ass. And so they put on that uniform, somebody hands them a badge, hands them a duty belt, hands them a gun, or they buy their own weapon, and they feel now they have the authority to put their foot up your ass if you don't respect them when they walk through the front door or when they walk onto the scene. That's not the reason why you should ever do one of those jobs. But let's be realistic. There are a lot of cops, a lot of security officers, and a whole lot of motherfuckers in uniform. Some realistic, jingoistic jackasses who join the military, join the police department, and join private security companies for the sole purpose of kicking ass and taking names. And they walk around with this idea that because I'm in this uniform, you will respect me from the moment I walk in the door. You will respect me from the moment I walk onto the scene. And if you don't, I'm going to whoop your ass until you respect me. That has nothing to do with the job. That has absolutely nothing to do with whatever company they're working for, whatever police department they're representing, or whatever national defense force they're part of. Whatever branch, even. It's them. Whatever happened in their life showed them, taught them that the only way to get respect was to bully other people, to whoop ass and take names in order to get the respect they feel they're due. And they seek out those particular jobs because they represent authority, because they represent some sort of power and control over everybody else around them. You put that uniform on, you have authority. You put that shield on, like this damn thing, you have power. They give you a gun, and you have the authority to whoop ass and take names. People are giving you a contract, or a license, if you will, to go out and kick somebody's ass. And that's why they want those jobs. That's only like 5% of the people that do this. But they make it bad. They make the rest of us look horrible because of how they act. The 95% of us that go to work because this is a job. This is not something that you pin your life on. This is a job. We do it, and we have no problems with the general population. I have no problem talking to people, dealing with people every day. But you get that 5% that feel like it is my job, it is my duty, it is my responsibility to make you do what I tell you to do. That's where you get the problem. So it's not all security, it's not all police, and it's not all military that act that way. But they make it bad for the rest of us. Okay, I see this video has gone over 15 minutes, so I'm going to cut it here. Hopefully I can still upload it. All right, everybody, this is Sean. I hope this little video give you a little bit of information. If not, anyway, peace.